Welcome to the Tiffany Mika podcast. What we do here is build the strength and courage in you to accomplish your big dreams and goals in your sport. No longer will you feel limited. You won't feel you're not good enough. You won't question whether you will make it. Those doubts will disappear because you will have the competitive edge over your opponents and leave them in your wake. And the bonus is others will notice. Listen up and take notes because I will show you exactly how to do it. Hey there, Tiff here. Welcome to the Tiffany Mika podcast. So I'm very excited that you are here once again. So welcome. Something happened really exciting the other day when I was working at this particular golf club that I work at, and two very famous people walked in to the door to play golf. And one was the husband. He's from a very famous international band, and his wife has been a world champion in her sport 5 times. I'm not going to say who they are, but they are well known, that's tongue twister, worldwide. And you see, I was really excited because, as you can imagine, seeing two well-accomplished people walk in the door and experts in their craft, I've got a huge respect for that. And also, I wanted to also respect their privacy as well. That's why I'm not going to say who they were, but because, they wanted to come out, have a hit of golf, do some recreation with a few of their friends. And, the exciting thing for us at the moment here in Australia is that due to the COVID-19 and what's going on there, we can still play golf. And a lot of the reason for that is because it's a sport where social distancing is easy to do. There are other precautions in place to ensure that, no one's left vulnerable or anything to the virus, but that's a good thing. So if you're in lockdown and you can't do anything, I apologize for that. But we've been fortunate enough to catch the curve early. So anyway, so let's get back to the exciting part. So this 5-time world champion in her sport, she had written a book, which I read a few years ago. And I was just so excited because I wanted to tell her how much I really enjoyed her book. I did send her an email when I did read it, and I was never sure whether she actually received it, but I just wanted to let her know what impact the book had on me and how much I could relate to what she was talking about and sharing from the mental side. And she was here at the golf club, and I really wanted to tell her, and I was really excited to see her, and I just wanted to, I wanted to tell her just how much I got out of the book, because I really think it's a really nice thing to do, is to give someone some feedback and let them know that what they shared did have an impact on someone else. And, it's inspiring and it's real. And she went through it, and she took us, when you read through her book, it took us on that journey, or took me on that journey with her, and I could feel the pain that she was going through and the mental torment that she was going through, but she was able to overcome that and become world champion and so on. So I was, because of what I had read through her book, I really wanted to tell her, wow, you had a huge impact on me. And she's very humble. She's very quiet about it. Just said thank you. Because I think she's that kind of person, and I didn't want to force myself on her. So I just wanted to let her know that I really enjoyed the book, and I didn't want to invade her privacy. So off they went, and they played their round with their friends. They returned. They came back in from their round, and I asked them the question, what I always ask everyone is, how'd you go? And the comment made was, he played well, but I wasn't very good, but I guess that's golf. And then her husband said, she only does the things that she's good at. Now, that really made me stop and think right at that moment when that comment was made. And I thought, oh, I'm just going to put that in the back of my head for the time being, because that's something about what I want to really talk about with you today, is that about this comment. I was only, whether it's this woman that only does things that she's good at, or someone else only does things that she's good at, I wanted to really break down that comment and have a look at what actually was said, because I want you to really listen to what I've got to say from this point about that comment. And I don't want you to think that I'm denigrating this couple in any way, because I am not. I've got a huge respect for them and what they've achieved. And but I want you to just have a listen to what I have to say about that comment, because it's all about helping you, okay? So I don't want you to think that, I only do the things that I'm good at, because I want you to think of it this way. If you only do the things that you're good at, how are you going to improve? How would you improve if you only do the things that you're good at? Interesting question, isn't it? So this then leads me to, well, how do you get good at something? You learn how to do it, don't you? That's how you get good at something. That's how this couple were able to do what it is that they were able to achieve. They learned how to do it and they worked on it. So this is where there's a misconception for high performers or high achievers, and not only them, really this is for everyone, but you're not good at something if you don't know how to do it. That's how it is. You're not good at something if you don't know how to do it. So being at a world-class level at what you know and doing really well at something, and then putting this expectation onto something else that you don't know much about, it's unrealistic. Too much pressure. And then because you have this high expectation, and you have this attitude for everything that you do, and don't get me wrong, I want you to have a high expectation for everything that you do, but also be realistic about, well, you know what, I'm not an expert in this area. I'm an expert in something else. It's like me going to do kickboxing, right? I haven't got a clue. So I wouldn't have the attitude that I would expect to be incredibly good at it, coming from the sports that I've played over my life, tennis especially, tennis, golf, cricket, hockey, softball, rowing, soccer, all the sports that I've played along the way. I don't expect that I would be really good at kickboxing, a sport like that, because I haven't got a clue how to do it, right? And the thing is, it's okay to not know much about, this new sport, or you're struggling to do it, because the reality is you haven't put the effort in, and you haven't put the time in, you haven't put the workload into learning how to do it, or even learning how to do it properly. And that's tough. That's tough for a high achiever. It's tough for a high performer, because when that expectation is there that everything that we put our hand to, we should excel at immediately, it's unrealistic. And the reality is that you don't excel immediately in something that you put your hand to if you've never done it before or had very limited experience with it. But the thing is it's really tough on the ego, because it brings up vulnerabilities. And you don't want to look like that you can't do something, especially when you've been world class at something. People have that expectation that you should be able to do that. I remember watching Ian Thorpe, the Torpedo from years ago, one of our best swimmers that's ever come out of swimming, and, he used to glide through the water. It was magical to watch him. He used to make everything look so effortless. And I saw him have a hit of tennis, Sydney International event years ago with Martina Hingis, and I thought, God, he can't play tennis. And I was like, oh, well, how is he supposed to play tennis anyway? Because he was an expert in swimming. So you just can't compare it. So even though that I never became a world champion in tennis, but I still had that opportunity to play tennis at a high level, trying to break into the pro ranks and playing overseas. So I was still at a really good competitive level. And you may have even heard like my lack of belief stories that held me back and so on. I've always been really good at sport because it's been my life. And I've played every sport at school. I represented the school in most sports. However, when I stopped pursuing tennis at the age of 20 because of lack of belief and I gave up on me and all of that sort of thing, and then we springboard 14 years later, I thought I'd give golf a try because I'm going to share a story with you about this attitude of expecting to be really good at something that you haven't done before. Okay. So if we springboard forward 14 years into, okay, I'm going to try out golf. And I tried out golf for two reasons. The first reason was because I was incredibly lonely. I was in a really bad relationship. So, and had come out of that and moved back in with my parents at the ripe old age of 33, 34. So I thought it was a good time for me to get out and actually meet people because I just didn't want to mix with anyone. And the second reason was that I wanted to do a new sport. I just felt like tennis, my relationship with tennis was over and I didn't get what I wanted out of tennis. And, I still had that heartbreak. I was still carrying that heartbreak from not accomplishing my sports dream with tennis. And I thought, well, golf might be okay to do for me because it looks pretty easy. Like, how hard could that be? Ball's not moving. It's different from tennis. I don't have to, run to the ball or anything like that. And I don't have to play against anyone else. I can just play for myself. So how hard can that be? And I thought, okay, well, let's do that. So those were the main two reasons that I thought I'd give golf a go. And my beautiful mum, because she's always incredibly supportive, bought me some golf lessons for Christmas. And I understood that the fact of being a tennis coach for the previous 10 years up until that point, and being an athlete myself, I knew and understood the importance of learning the technique from a coach. And my attitude is, especially from a coaching point of view, well, what's the point of trying to figure things out and fumbling your way along when I can go to an expert, someone that knows a lot more than me about the sport and can, I can be taught how to do it properly. And I'll tell you, my first golf lesson, I was hopeless. I was useless. I didn't get one ball up in the air. I hit the ball left and right. I had mishits. I hit the ball everywhere. But I don't even remember hitting. I think I hit a couple of straight shots, but they were along the ground. Like they call them worm burners. Killed all the worms along the way. But I fell in love that day. And I fell in love with the sport, just like I did with tennis all those years ago. And it was that feeling that, I could do this for the rest of my life. Because I really love that hitting a bat and ball. I like that striking of a bat and ball. And I've always been that inclined to a bat and ball sport. Because I really love anything that you do with a ball. So, like I said, I was pretty hopeless and I was pretty useless and I didn't make a decent connection. But because I knew from my previous experience as a coach and also my previous experience as an athlete, I knew that I had to learn the skills. There's a key there. I knew I had to learn the skills because I didn't know how to do the skills. So that's what leads me to this point of this message about this episode, and this is what I want you to really get, is because I didn't know either. I went from playing an incredibly high level of tennis into another sport that I'd never played up until that point. And so I thought, I got a real lesson that day. The first golf lesson that I had was, this is not as easy as it looks. And it's not. It's incredibly technical. And, you only have to be out millimeters and you can make error upon error. So that's why there's a big, mental struggle with golf that people have. But the message here for you is when you don't know how to do something, it doesn't mean that you're hopeless at it. It just means that you have not yet learned the skills for it. So each time, and this is what I want you to really get, because this is going to not only help you now, but this is going to help you for the rest of your life, and have this attitude. So each time that you are stepping into a new arena, each time that you are trying something new, what I want you to do is go into that with a beginner's mind. Be curious to know how to get better. Beginner's mind, and be curious to know how to get better. Because if you have that approach, not only now, so even in your sport, there's probably things that you may not be executing very well. Okay, go in with a beginner's mindset and learn how to do it properly. Be curious to know how you can make it better. Because I want you to have this approach, like I just said it before, I want you to have this approach for the rest of your life. Because when you can do that, when you can go into that, into something that you haven't done before, or something that you don't do very well, or something that you're not good at, go in with that beginner's mindset. Go in with that attitude of being curious, because what it will do for you, it will allow you to be much more open to learning. And you're going to learn so much more by doing that. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Now, before you go, I just want to know this one thing. Have you yet got a copy of my book, Focus, How to Reach Your Potential in Sport, Business and Life? I've written it for you. If you're on that journey and that path of becoming the athlete that you want to become, I've laid out a path for you, and it's the lessons that I've learnt from sport that have helped me and allowed me to get on with it in my life, and to show me what was missing, and it will show you what's missing in your life. And I want to show you how you can reach your potential. And you can get the book for free. It's a real book that you hold in your hands. The only thing that I'll ask of you is just to pay for the shipping of the book, but the book itself, you get it for free. Retails for $30, but you'll get it for free. So if you would love a copy of my book, and if you would love me to sign it for you, I'd love to do that too. So make sure that if you go and do that to me, pop me an email and say, Tiff, I've paid for the shipping for the book. Can you sign it for me? I'd love to do that for you. Just go to Tiffany Mika, mika.com/free book, and make sure you get a copy of the book. I'd love you to read it because I wrote it for you. So in saying that, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Love it if you could share with me what you like best about what you heard. If you've got friends that you know that would benefit from these episodes, I'd love it if you could share these episodes with your friends, because we want to build a successful athletes community as big as we possibly can. So I want you to dream big, believe in you, and go after your dreams. Take care. Talk soon. You work hard, you make sacrifices, yet you still don't see the results. You ask the question, will I ever make it? Will I ever win? You are frustrated, which leads to doubt. You lose confidence and get down on yourself. There are reasons that you're going through this. You just don't know what they are. There is hope and there are answers. Join me, I'm Tiff, for the free Success Athlete Masterclass, because you'll no longer feel held back. You'll have more success and more wins in your sport. And the best thing, the hard work will pay off. go to tiffanyMika.com/Sam, that's SAM. I look forward to seeing you there at the free training. Dream big, believe in you, and go after your dreams.